This is the Liberator vegan news for 7/7/17. And in our first story today, a farmer in England who had a beef farm decides to free his 60 plus cows to a sanctuary and move towards becoming a vegan organic farmer. And this is awesome news, especially for the cows. The man said that he felt bad for the cows. He could sense that, they clearly had emotions and were scared when they were going to die. All the sort of common sense things that we all know and have scientifically been shown. But nonetheless, the thing I found most interesting about this story was that this man had been a vegetarian for 20 plus years when he inherited the beef farm from his father and felt obligated to keep it going. And after a few years, realized he just didn't have the heart to do this to the animals. As a vegan, I feel like the first thing I would have done is realized I couldn't do that to the animals and got out of the cattle farming industry. But nonetheless, I'm super pleased that this person has made the right choice to set the animals free and to get out of this dying industry and move towards the future, which is, vegan farming. So I am definitely all about hearing news like this. And the next piece of news, which will continue the trend of people talking with British accents, we have the Australians embracing common sense. They are trying to pass a ban on cosmetic testing on animals. This will include testing things like soaps and deodorants. And the reason that this is such a common sense thing to do is that it's not useful to do these sorts of tests. It's not revealing in how it will affect humans. So basically, it's just torturing animals for no reason. And fortunately, other places like the European Union have already moved in this direction. So it seems that a lot of the world is moving in the right direction. Hopefully, the rest of the world can start to embrace the fact that putting shit in a rabbit's eye for no reason doesn't make sense. And another nice thing about this idea in Australia, or this law that they're trying to pass, is that it's not one of those things like we do in America or the United States where we say, it's really awful how we're treating chickens, and in 20 years from now, we're going to make sure we change it. This law would actually go into effect next year in July of 2018 if passed. So it's a pretty quick turnover from doing stupid shit to animals that isn't helpful to stop doing it, unlike like we did with like cage free, where they said by 20 years from now, we're going to transition away from this torturous way of raising chickens, because everyone knows it takes a long time to stop doing horrible things, I guess. Anyway, so now moving away from people with British accents, we go to Haagen Dazs has 4 new delicious ice cream flavors. And the flavors include peanut butter chocolate fudge, coconut caramel, chocolate salted fudge truffle, and mocha chocolate cookie. And this is great news if you are a snack food or a junk food lover of vegan foods. It's also great for activists because when we can tell people that you've got Haagen Dazs ice cream, you've got Ben & Jerry's, you've got Breyers. These are all companies they recognize, and so it makes it sound like it's more mainstream. And so even if you don't like ice cream, or you don't like junk food, or you don't like companies that make things that torture animals like Haagen Dazs, Breyers, and Ben & Jerry's do currently, at least it's a step in the right direction in showing people that the future is vegan and the past, the barbaric past, is not vegan. And so clearly we're moving in the right direction. Something I want to talk about today is one of my favorite grassroots activists. Her name's Connie Spence, and she does something pretty awesome called the Vegan Bat Light. Now, if you haven't seen it, the Vegan Bat Light is where Connie goes to a highly populated place and finds a large wall that's very visually optimal for people to see and puts a giant-ass light on it with a message. Because technically, light is not graffiti, it's not littering, it's not anything that police can ask you not to do, or at least for the most part. She's had the luck of not having them tell her that she can't do it, although they try all the time. Connie's constantly dealing with the police. In fact, she spends way more time with the police than I'm sure anyone would like to. But the great thing is that people see her message. Like here, she's got animals come to slaughter houses fighting till their last breath, just as we would do in their place, go vegan. And so it gets people to read this giant message on the wall of a building and then they can come talk to Connie, which usually there's people there with her handing out information or, willing to chat about why they're there doing what they're doing. And it seems she's having amazing luck with changing people's minds about eating animals and what goes into that. And so I think this is an amazing way to do activism. It's very creative. And if you're interested in getting involved, definitely check out the Facebook page for the Vegan Bat Light, or contact Connie and see how you can get involved. But really, I just think it's an awesome thing and wanted to give Connie a shout out. The next thing I wanted to do is talk a little bit about my opinion on something. You don't necessarily have to agree, and I might revise how I feel about this, but I was thinking about the constant refrain we hear from non-vegans. If you're a vegan activist, at least you hear this all the time, that eating animals is a personal choice. And we all know that's bullshit because the animal has to suffer, and that's not personal at all. But when we look at healthcare, we can see that it's not personal as well. For someone to get healthcare, you're basically chipping in money to a pool that will cover the cost of everyone's healthcare. So if someone has low costs, it helps because then the person with high costs gets theirs covered by that person not using the money that didn't need the doctor that year. The problem with this when it comes to the personal choice, quote unquote, of eating animals is that really hikes up the cost of healthcare for that person. When you're having heart attacks, diabetes, cancers, all those things are very expensive. You start to run into surgeries and treatments that are in the $50,000 to $100,000 range, which means everyone is having to pay for that person's, heart attack or that person's, different treatments or medicines that they're on, that it can be really expensive. And so a lot of people can't afford health insurance at all because the cost is so high, because we're paying for these exponentially, higher costs for these people that are choosing to ignore what they're doing to their bodies by the way they eat. And I'm not trying to fat shame the person in the picture here that you see. It looks as though he was making a joke of it himself. So that's why I picked it, so that it was the, I guess, hopefully the least offensive one. I wasn't trying to make him a joke. It seemed like he was doing that himself. But I wanted to compare it to home insurance. And so I just needed these two pictures. If you look at the picture on the other side there of the house burning, the reason I did that was because I thought, well, what if I called my home insurance, or my, the insurance company that covers my house, and I say, I decided I just wanted to light my house on fire today. Could you pay for a new one? They tell me to go to hell, because they'd say, you made that choice. That's your responsibility. Pay for it yourself. But that's not true of health insurance. You can't call the health insurance company and say, well, I did eat animals and, that did clog my arteries and gave me a heart attack, and have them say, go to hell. They say, oh no, we'll cover it. We'll just take money from these people over here who aren't doing this bad shit for themselves and cover you. And now a lot of people that want health insurance can't afford it because we've got to cover your expensive, surgeries or, like bypasses, whatever it is. So it jacks up the cost for everyone else. And now all of a sudden, a lot of people are left without health insurance, or paying more than they can really manage, and having to cut corners in other aspects of their life, all because certain individuals aren't taking care of themselves, aren't making good choices. And so to me, it doesn't seem like there's anything personal about that if it's affecting so many others. If so many other people are potentially dying or being sick and not being treated because they can't afford health insurance, because someone's choosing to do things that are known to cause heart attacks, known to cause cancer, known to cause diabetes, that doesn't seem like a personal choice at all. So even if you ignore the animal issue, it's still not a personal choice. One thing I'd like to do at this point is share a video that is of a I found this online. It's from Sugarshine Farm Sanctuary, and it is the video of a calf licking a pig on the ear. So I thought it was a happy video to share to start your day. So if you want to help me spread the message, what you can do is you can actually like, share, comment, or subscribe, especially if you're on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, which will be under Art from a Vegan Heart. Support me on Patreon. This would be awesome if you can go to patreon.com/vegan warrior. Even if you can just do $1 or $2 a month, if enough people do that, it can make a huge difference in how many people I reach. A lot of the time, I'm spending my money to try to promote things on Facebook to get more people to see them. And so this would be hugely helpful in that. Another thing you can do is follow me. You can go to artfromaveganheart.com, and that has links to Facebook and Instagram. And then also follow me on Facebook at Ryan the Vegan. And then go to animalliberationday.com and sign up to participate in 12/18/21 Animal Liberation Day. There's an explanation there, but it's the day on which we draw the line in the sand. And after that, we make it impossible for animal agriculture to continue. So thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll have some more news for you soon.